I am professional wrestling obsessed. I have been pretty much my entire life. I've bonded with some of the most important people in my life over wrestling. My whole family is into professional wrestling, and my sister is even killing it in the Australian wrestling scene. So today, I wanted to shift away from my regular gaming content to tell you a few stories from my childhood involving my love of professional wrestling. These stories involve all sorts of types of media to do with our beloved Graps, and all of them played such a big part in shaping me into the big old mark that I am today. The first time I ever laid eyes on anything wrestling related, I was in year 1, so that made me about 6 years old. One of the boys in my class had brought in 2 toys for show and tell. A Rey Mysterio and a John Cena action figure. All the boys in my class were obsessed. Who were these cool looking dudes? I talked to my parents about it that afternoon, and my mind was absolutely blown when I found out that these were actually real people. I thought they were just superheroes. Little did I know that conversation would change my life forever. I wanted to watch wrestling straight away, even though I still kind of had no idea what it was. We lived about a 10-minute walk away from a strip of shops at this point, and most weekends my mum would walk me and my sister over there to do some shopping. This strip of shops included a video rental store. This wasn't a chain like Video Easy or Blockbuster, just some small shady looking place run by a weird old dude. I still to this day don't want to know what was behind the doorway with the curtains. Anyway, I'm browsing the DVDs. Normally I would get a show like Scooby-Doo or Power Rangers. But then, it caught my eye. It was him, on the front cover of a DVD. I saw the man from the toy that my friend had brought to school. It was John Cena, on the cover of a DVD called Royal Rumble 2004. I straight away knew that I had to get this, and that I did. The whole way home, I'm trying to read the back. I wasn't the best reader, I'm still not, to be honest. Rey Mysterio was on the back cover, and he looked so cool in real life. I saw these other 2 guys as well, no idea who they are, no idea if they're important or not. I get home, and I nearly break my PlayStation 2 in half trying to put the DVD in there, and what happened next will be ingrained in my brain forever. Puddle of Mud's Nothing Left to Lose starts blaring from my TV, and I am hooked. I load the DVD up, and the first match I ever watch in real life starts playing. The Dudley Boys vs Evolution in a tables match for the Tag Team Championships. From the very first bell, I was hooked. I loved it. I don't even remember anything else from watching the DVD, including the 30-man Rumble. I don't even remember who won it. But don't worry, because I think WWE doesn't either. But I will forever remember watching that tag match for the first time ever on a Saturday morning after a walk to the rental store. Another WWE core memory for me will be my introduction to the video games. I was at my local Blockbuster. So much of my childhood is just spent in rental stores apparently. But I was at the local Blockbuster ready to get my usual weekly game, and there I saw it. 3 logos that I recognized. The WWE Scratch logo, the Raw logo, and the SmackDown logo. I was looking at the original SmackDown vs Raw game, and right there and then not a single other game existed on that shelf. Getting home and putting it in, I had an issue. I still didn't know how to read yet. So I just clicked around a bit and wound up on a character select screen. Here's where my reading issue popped up again. I didn't know any of these guys' names. I didn't even know any of them unless they were on that Royal Rumble 2004 DVD. I decided I would just pick the 2 coolest characters to keep playing as. That ended up being Batista and John Cena. I'm sure I would have absolutely loved that year's Royal Rumble. The other memory that I have from this game is that my dad played through the season mode as Triple H, and I thought he was an original character made for the game because he was the only one that wasn't being voice acted, not knowing that regardless of who my dad picked, they would have been mute. Moving on to 2006 now, going on 2 years in this crazy fandom, I had the opportunity to meet one of 2 duos of WWE superstars. There were 2 shopping centres in my town hosting meet and greets at the exact same time. One of them was hosting Edge and Lita, while the other one had Trish Stratus and John Cena. Now, at this point, I was fully on the heel train like the rebellious little kid I was. And my sister's favourite wrestler was Lita, so we said no to going to meet John Cena and Trish Stratus and went to meet Edge and Lita instead. The meet and greet was at a Kmart. We had to line up in the store's nursery, which I am mentioning because now whenever I step foot in a nursery and smell the mix of manure and flowers and water features, I'm instantly transported to this moment and remember just how excited I was. I cannot find the words to explain how excited I was as we got closer and closer. You basically got to get a photo with them and they would sign the little white section down the bottom of your meet and greet ticket. So we get to the front of the line and we speak to Edge first. He was scheduled to face Cena for the WWE title at Unforgiven that month, so I was actually able to see the Rated R spinner in person. I told him that I was going for him in that match and he better beat Cena. He promised me he would. More on that in a second though. Now I move down the table and I'm face to face with Lita, and I'll admit it with no shame whatsoever. I was in awe. She was drop dead gorgeous in person and I had no idea what to say. She smiled and asked how I was going, to which I literally just yanked my sister in front of me and said, "You're her favourite wrestler." I got my ticket signed and I walked away, starting a trend in my life of not knowing how to actually speak to women. Anyway, back to that promise that my supposed mate Edge made me. He lost at that pay-per-view. Now back then I wasn't ordering pay-per-views and we didn't even have internet at my house, so I would go to my grandma's house and get my uncle or auntie to go on WWE.com and look up results for me. I saw the photo of Cena on top of the ladder after winning and I actually cried. So thanks a lot for that, Adam Copeland. I should have never trusted you in the first place. Now, unfortunately, not every memory is a good one, and sadly, this is one of the ones that really sucks. The 2007 Benoit family tragedy. Regardless of if you think he did it or not, or if you have completely blacklisted him from your mind, or choose to remember him for the wrestler he was, none of that matters, because no matter who you were when it happened, you were rocked. I remember my mum waking me up in the morning and saying that one of the wrestlers had died. My first thought was, please don't be John Cena, and yes, I was back on the Cena train at this point, because if you can't beat him, you've got to join him. Anyway, I went out to the lounge room where it was on the morning news. I remember crying and not wanting to go to school after that, but mum still made me go. So I brought my Benoit figure in my school bag with me. Getting home from school, the story was a bit different though. The murder-suicide was made public and I really didn't know how to feel. I mean, I was 9 at the time, so I don't even really think I understood what was going on. A lot of kids at my school were told after that they were not allowed to watch wrestling ever again. Thankfully, my parents didn't really care that me and my sister were still watching, but it was just a dark, weird time to be a wrestling fan. Also, if you're wondering where I stand on the matter, Paul Heyman sums it up perfectly. Yeah, sure, he was a great wrestler, but 3 people died that night and only one had the choice. I can still watch a Benoit match if it's on a pay-per-view that I'm watching, but I totally agree with him never being acknowledged in the world of wrestling ever again. Okay, let's go back to a fun one. If you can't already tell, or if I haven't already said it, I live in Australia. And over here, WWE was only on Fox 8, which is a Foxtel channel, paid television essentially. We were always a free-to-air family until the middle of 2006. And honestly, I didn't care all that much. I had a good collection of WWE DVDs spanning from 2002 to 2005. And I also had SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and the original SVR on PS2 at this point. My grandma had Foxtel, and I used to just go over there and watch Raw and SmackDown reruns at her place. But in September of 2006, we finally got Foxtel. It was installed on a Wednesday, which was the day that Raw aired in Australia at the time, and I could not wait to get home to watch Raw in my own house. I don't remember anything about the episode, except for a 6-man tag team match that had Edge, Randy Orton, and Johnny Nitro going up against Carlito, John Cena, and the man I thought was the coolest guy ever, and I think most kids shared that opinion as well, Jeff Hardy. I also remember around this time seeing a promo for the new SmackDown vs. Raw game that was released in the back end of 2007. I couldn't stop talking about that, and my dad actually pre-ordered it for me, and I got the Steelcase edition too. I loaded it up and I was so excited to play as Jeff Hardy, but nope, he wasn't in the game. But hey, Trevor Murdoch fans were eating good that year. This is unrelated to the Foxtel story, I just wanted to slide it in there because I thought it was relevant. I would end up getting SmackDown Shut Your Mouth before SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 came out, so I got a little Jeff Hardy fix before he would return in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. I'm going to jump a few years into the future here and tell a story from 2014. It's WrestleMania 30 day, and at my high school there were a lot of wrestling fans, and we were all excited. I just wanted to talk about one particular thing that happened that day. We were in geography, and in that class I was about one of 8 boys that were wrestling fans. We were doing our work on our school laptops, but we all also had Bleacher Report open, refreshing the page to get live updates. And I will never forget just how dead quiet it went when we all refreshed at the same time and saw that Brock Lesnar had beaten the streak. None of us said anything, we were all in disbelief. Honestly, none of us even gave a crap that Daniel Bryan was winning the World Heavyweight Championship that night. We were all just flabbergasted at the streak ending. It still sits with me. I always remember that exact moment whenever I see footage of the streak match. I just remember sitting in geography and staring at all these other guys, and none of us knew what to say about it. I'm going to finish with a long-winded story here, and well, actually it's 3 stories, but I definitely have a lot more to say, so a part 2 could be coming. This has been good fun going back through and remembering all this stuff, but I want to finish with a special one and talk about 3 of the best friends that I have ever made in my life and our love for this insane, stupid world of wrestling. I was the only one who went from my primary school to my high school. I felt super alone for a while, like I would talk to kids, but I didn't really have any friends. And then I met Daniel, the kid that was somehow miraculously as big as a loser as I was. It didn't take very long for us to be attached at the hip, and this would happen for years. But one thing that was always stuck with me was the first time that Daniel ever walked home with me and came to my house. He lived in the other direction, but this afternoon he decided to walk home with me. Now at this point we knew we were both big wrestling fans. That's all we mainly talked about. Anyway, we get to my house. I ask him to come inside and play some WWE on the 360 with me. So he does. And what happens next, we still talk about to this very day. We were playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 for reference. We played a Falls Count Anywhere match. He picked Randy Orton, that was his favourite at the time, and for some stupid reason, I was Jack Swagger, because I absolutely loved him back then. Anyway, we had a match that went for about 45 minutes of just kick out after kick out after kick out, until he finally beat me. Granted, the only person that I had played a wrestling game with at this point was my sister, and she sucked. So finally meeting my match was actually so awesome. Another great wrestling memory with Daniel was him illegally torrenting every Attitude Era pay-per-view, and us binge watching them together over the course of a million sleepovers. Daniel isn't all that much into wrestling anymore, but we still look back at this sort of stuff and have occasionally caught up to watch pay-per-views over the last few years. Okay, friend 2, Jalen. I met Jalen through the girlfriend of a friend because I wanted to start a band and so did he. We added each other on Facebook and decided to meet up on the weekend. This was around 2014, so we're 15, 16. I went to his house with the intention of discussing band-related stuff, until during a tour of his house, I spotted 2 games, a wrestling game and a FIFA game. Needless to say, we did not start a band for another 3 years. Me and Jalen, since we've known each other, have watched over 100 pay-per-views together, played countless hours of wrestling games doing dumb shit in them, and every time I've seen WWE live, Jalen has been sitting right next to me. I could never explain in a video what this friendship means to me, but let's just say it's always nice knowing that no matter how bad things get, me and Jay can always laugh at Kalisto running to the ring in the 2018 Royal Rumble. Lastly, I want to mention my good matey Nady. I met Nady through my sister because they were at the same wrestling school. When I met Nady, I thought he was pretty cool. I was wrong. I invited him over to my house and he has not left me alone since, and this was back in 2020. However, I'm glad Nady hasn't left me alone because he's become like an older sibling to me that makes life so much easier to get through. We bond over the dumbest shit in wrestling, like Nunzio and Funaki, and I genuinely cherish the moments where we just chuck on a random wrestling related video, and couch rotten silence. These three connections I have in my life are obviously so much more than just wrestling, but wrestling has played a very special part in bringing these guys and so many other people in my life just so close to me. I'm going to wrap it up there for today though. If you enjoyed my ramblings on my wrestling memories, please leave a like on the video and let me know if I should make a part 2, because there are definitely more things I could talk about. Also, I plan on making these more personal videos about topics I love. Like, while I love making reviews and talking about games in a journalistic way, I also just love sharing my stories, and other people's videos like this have been some of my favourite to watch on YouTube recently. Thank you again for your time today. Please follow my socials below to keep up to date with all the cool stuff that I'm doing, and also go and follow my sister, SHAY KASSIDY, so that you can say that you knew her before she gets to WWE. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Satin Black, and I'll catch you in the next video.